So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Dude, this was like this was the movie I was most looking forward to this summer.
Oh, probably hands down. We've had a few that we were really...
I mean...
Like Godzilla, we were really looking forward to.
Yeah, but I knew what I was getting into.
This one was the movie of the summer where I was like, oh, this one's probably going to get nominations. This one's probably going to get...
It's Tarantino, you know?
And we discussed this when we talked about Pulp Fiction. Tarantino's my boy.
He's my boy.
Yeah.
The dude's crazy, though. Like, all his movies...
I reiterate my statement.
I know. Okay, bud. But he, this movie, going into it, as we were leading up to watching it, I was like more and more excited because I realized I had no idea what the movie was going to be about.
Yeah.
All I saw was just Brad Pitt and Leo.
It's so refreshing to go into movies like that.
Yeah.
That you've got no idea. Hey,
she's fine. She just excited.
I know. She don't need to be trying to get in your lap, though. It really was. It is refreshing. And this has been honestly, it's been a weaker summer.
Yeah.
And it's been a summer of sequels and
remakes and prequels, sequel, whatever. And that's what I was talking to you about, was that everything that is, no matter how you feel about Tarantino, it is refreshing to go into his movies.
You're going to get something.
You're getting
new.
something original. You're getting something new, and as a result of that, you're constantly on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because in sequels or prequels or remakes, you basically have a fundamental understanding of how the story is going to play out. But with like Tarantino's movies, you just don't. Yeah. You don't know. So there were plenty of times in this movie that it was extremely kind of suspenseful because you didn't know what was going to happen. This is a movie that it's honestly not much of a plot. It's kind of just following around.
It's like much of his other movies.
Yeah.
Where it's like a glimpse in time.
But see, like Kill Bill and Django and Glorious Bastards, they have definitive plots. Like there is something that's set up and it shows that they need to go do something or, But Pulp Fiction is kind of just showing a piece of these people's lives, and this is very similar.
Yeah.
Where it's Leonardo plays an old TV star, or not old TV. He's a TV star that he now just does.
Well, he did movies too. He's just an older star who's
kind of faded away from the spotlight.
Yeah, he's doing TV now. He
always did TV. He tried to go into movies, and now his TV show that he had a good thing going with his TV show. He was the lead in it. It got canceled, and now he's just doing guest appearances. Mm-hmm. And I think, and see, Leonardo does a really good job in this movie. He is supremely funny.
As much as I like Brad Pitt in this movie and how watchable he is.
I thought Brad Pitt was the best part.
Well, yeah, he's the best part because he's the coolest. He's one. But in terms of acting,
yeah, that's true. Because
DiCaprio, there's moments where DiCaprio, you go, he's great.
Just good, yeah.
He has a moment in this movie that's very reminiscent of, at least I'm not talking about in terms of physical performance, but it's very reminiscent of Wolf of Wall Street when he's on the drugs, where you watch him and you go, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's something else.
He has a scene in this movie that's very much like that, where I was like, he is fantastic. Like, he's the best actor in this movie.
Yeah, but you walk away thinking like, oh, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt does steal the show because he's so cool.
He's basically playing himself, I believe, and he's so cool. He's so badass. I thought there was a portion where they kind of focused on Margot Robbie, and because Margot Robbie's playing Sharon Tate, mm-hmm. and the whole movie is revolving around how
you said this earlier as well, and after we got out, it's one of Tarantino's more tame movies.
It's his most mature movie, and I think in a sense maybe his most artistic, in the sense that I think he spent more time focusing on directing than he did writing.
I'll say that there are some really there were some really unique shots in this. There were some really
No, like it. I thought this was his. I really love this film. I love this film a lot, and it's probably the movie that feels the least Tarantino-ish.
Yeah.
Like this is a movie I could see someone else making this movie, and actually think maybe Tarantino didn't make this.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are elements that there are certain points in this movie where you're like, oh no, this is like, especially the whole last act for sure is.
It's the end of the second act and then into the third act.
You're like, oh, this is Tarantino all the way.
Yeah.
And both those scenes are the best scenes in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When he's on Spawn Ranch and when the Manson family are coming.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is that this movie's in the backdrop of the story. I guess the narrative is that it's the Manson family, and they only show Charlie Manson once for like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
and that's it. He doesn't come back, and I think Tarantino did that on purpose. I think he didn't want this movie to be known as the movie about Charlie Manson, and it's not at all.
No, it's not.
It's just a hangout movie of watching Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski hanging out, but more importantly, of Leo and Brad Pitt doing their thing in Hollywood. And I think it was like Tarantino looking back at like, this was the golden age of Hollywood. This is what I grew up loving about Hollywood. And that's all the movie is. There's not much to it, but it's just, I had such a blast in this movie.
There are several really good scenes. Another scene that felt Tarantino-esque, especially with dialogue, is when Brad Pitt fights Bruce Lee.
Oh, that was so much fun. When they showed it in the trailer, but it hit just as well for me this time. And when you see the context of it, I love that it sets up because it's a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
He's working on the roof, and then
it's kind of like, how did I get here?
Yeah, it's like, why am I not being able to get a job as a stunt double? And it shows the whole Bruce Lee scene, and then it cuts back to him on the roof again. He's like laughing, like, yeah, well, I got myself into this. And it's so funny.
There's several moments like this where Brad Pitt has like self-awareness.
He's like,
that is really funny. Like when he's picking up the girl, she starts yelling at the cop.
Oh,
and he goes, no. Like
Brad Pitt was for sure the best part of that movie. He was, and he's so easily watchable.
Oh no, he is very watchable.
Man, there's the best scene in the movie that I don't want to reveal too much about the movie. It literally came out yesterday, but that whole final scene is put it this way: the movie is not violent at all. There's one instance of violence where Brad Pitt is punching someone. Mm-hmm. That's it until the final 15 minutes, and it's violent.
Yeah,
it is. That's the scene where you're like, oh, this is Tarantino.
Yeah.
And it's
true. You go through the whole thing, and there is no violence. And I had heard going into this movie, people were saying, "Oh, it's
violent.
It's violent. And I remember
I remember I was like 2 hours in. I was like, where is this violence?
Yeah, because other than, like you said, there's one scene where Brad Pitt punches somebody in the face, and it's not really violent, but
he's bleeding. He's
Brad Pitt, Jack, fucks him up.
He does, but it's nothing worse than you would see like in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, no, there's
not blood. That's it.
And then
that final scene,
and then the final scene happens.
God. Another standout in the movie is Brad Pitt's dog.
Yeah.
But there's two scenes with the dog, and both scenes are like, they're awesome. And it's part Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt, but it's also part the dog is great. Brandy is the dog's name. It's this pit bull, and Brad Pitt loves his pit bull. It's just it really does go back to just I could watch a buddy comedy of
Brad Pitt and his dog
just going on adventures, because essentially this seriously about 20 minutes of this movie is Brad Pitt driving around LA, and it's extremely compelling. It's compelling. Like you watch him and he's just doing.
He's doing stuff and you're like, who's he gonna run into next?
Yeah.
Like, what's he gonna get himself into?
And he just is going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
it's great.
It really is. It's a great movie.
Well, see that, and this comes down to our discussion. You do not think of highly of this as I do.
No, you walked away and said,
I think it is as of right now, and I'm going to let it rest. I may revisit it. I'm going to revisit it soon. Right now, it's my third favorite Tarantino. I put it right below Inglourious Bastards.
See, not for me. I still have Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards, Kill Bill, and Reservoir Dogs all above this one.
But that being said, that's a testament to Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like, all his movies are just that good.
Yeah.
But I had such a blast.
And when we give our grades, you're going to see what I think of it. I by no means think this was subpar. This is a very good movie.
Because last night when we walked out of the theater, one of your complaints was that there were parts that dragged on.
There were parts that dragged on.
And
again, that's a minor complaint, but there are moments where you sit there and you go, that didn't, it felt drug on. Like, that didn't have to go on as long as it did.
Which is a fair assessment.
But then it also goes into what you said was almost like Tarantino had this idea, which was for the final hour and a half of this movie, and he said, how do I get you to care about these characters? So the first half had to take place.
The first half, it felt like him truly just trying to immerse you in the world of 1969 Hollywood.
I will say, I had heard originally that Margaret Robbie...
I loved her in this. Sorry.
She was really good.
Are you getting emotional?
Margot Robbie. That she wasn't in it very much when this movie debuted, and then he has since recut it.
Re-edited it a little bit. I think what I had heard is that she didn't have a lot of lines. And that still is the case, even though she is in this movie a lot.
Yeah. I liked how much she was in it, and she didn't have to have lines. It was a person...
The sweetest part of the movie was the theater scene.
Yeah, it was great.
When went to go see her own movie, the movie that Sharon Tate was in, and she's seeing the parts it's comedic parts, and the people in the crowd
waiting for the laughs,
and people are laughing, and she is getting that joy of like, I'm making people happy.
Yeah,
and she's loving.
Great.
It's so sweet.
It's really good, and I think that's like how Tarantino wants people to react to his movies.
Yeah. Oh, and that's how he reacts to movies. Mm-hmm. That's he gets the most enjoyment out of these movies, and this, which is cool. The whole rest of the movie deals with. Not the rest of the movie, but a major part of this movie deals with Leonardo, guest starring on a specific TV show. And it shows him going through going through makeup and then getting ready for scenes and him struggling with the scene, but then him crushing the scene. And I think that's another homage to Tarantino. I'm sure as a kid watched tons of those old school Westerns and always wanted to know, how do they make these? And how did this go? Whatever. And that's...
Talk about one of the better scenes in this movie. He's got a scene with a little girl.
Oh, that felt very Tarantino.
And you see her in the preview. She makes a comment. That's the best acting I've ever seen.
But it's not
that moment. It's
before the scene itself starts, mm-hmm. and they're both sitting in director's chairs, and they're just kind of having conversation. And she's like a method actor, which is hilarious because she's like 8, and Leonardo's like, like, what do you do? Like, how old are you? But it's their back and forth is great, mm-hmm. and it's very sweet. And I remember thinking, because there's a specific shot where it's a oneer, where it's Leonardo's in the foreground and she's in the background, but they're both in focus, and it's like, I think it's like 2 minutes where they're just talking, have a conversation, and I was like, that's pretty impressive for a kid actor to just be able to act that well, and she did a great job.
She was really good.
She was really good, and she's only in the movie for a total of 5 to 10 minutes. I would say like 5-ish, and she's great. She's really sweet. She's really charming, and she's hilarious, especially because she's embodied that character of like, I prefer to be called my character's name on set. If I can stay in character more, I feel like I give a better performance. Meanwhile, Leo is hung over to the max, and just like, what is this?
He's like, He's coughing up stuff.
And he's like,
spitting
sorry. He also, I'm surprised he doesn't have lung cancer by the amount of cigarettes Leonardo smoked on this movie. Literally every scene, he either had a drink in his hand or he was smoking a cigarette. I mean, it was McConaughey and True Detective level smoking of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite movie this summer. I give this an A. I gotta let time set because I'm still like basking in that like how much fun I had and how much I just loved it. And I'm trying to think of true flaws in it. And I guess one flaw is that there really isn't much of a story. It's a hangout movie. You're going just to watch Brad Pitt and Leonardo hang out.
Again, one of my flaws was there are parts that drag on. Like, yeah, it just, at the beginning, especially, I guess it's like the second act.
It picks up.
The beginning of the second, it starts to pick up, but there are moments where you kind of go, oh, this is starting to feel a little long. And I'm not saying, because it does pick back up.
But see, that's where I have the argument that even when it is feeling long, I think it's purposeful. I
100% think it's purposeful.
In a mindset of like trying to immerse you in this world so that when the final act happens.
But what I'm saying is, partway through the second act, and you've already been through the first act, my first thought was, I get it. This is all cool. Tarantino, you really like this. I get it.
It's true.
And it's not, again, I caught myself feeling that way like once or twice during it, where I was like,
that's fair. Like I totally understand.
That being said, I give this movie an A-, and it's probably, it's definitely one of the best movies we've seen this year. I mean, it's without question.
Another thing, this is an argument that I do need to bring up though, and it's a testament to the acting. Does this movie work if it's not Leo and Brad Pitt? I can't picture anyone else playing Brad Pitt's character.
No.
I think someone else may have been able to do Leo's, but it's like I think those were the only two that could have really played those parts. And they were so good in those parts. I mean, they I wouldn't say carry the movie, but they make it so watchable. And they're not, like, Leo kind of has that movie star persona, but he's not like an asshole. And Brad Pitt, you never see him angry. Except for one scene. Which is interesting that they threw in that little backstory about Brad Pitt.
Well, you don't even really see him too angry there.
It's not angry.
I was gonna say the time you see him angry is when they bust his tire. He's not happy.
No, he's not happy, but he handles it.
Yeah.
That was the first instance of violence, and that's what the scene we were talking about of like it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But that scene,
you're gonna fix it. And he's just like,
and he just walks up and
he's just like,
he just decks him in the face.
Fix it.
I really want to, like, I see, you walked out of the theater and you
do I want to see it again? Yeah.
But I, like, immediately wanted
we walked out of the theater and you were like,
I want to see it, like, now.
Yeah.
Again.
You made the comment like, this is one of the best Tarantino movies I think ever. And I was like,
I didn't say ever. I said, I think I might put it below Inglourious Bastards. Because much like you, I have Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards. But I love
Kill Bill.
Yeah, I know. You already told me. But I
really like Reservoir Dogs.
But just like how I really liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So
go see it. It came out this Friday.
Tarantino would want you to see it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
It's about filmmaking and about movies, so go see it in the theaters.
If you enjoy movies
and if you enjoy
just all the aspects about movies, you're gonna enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
This is like a love letter to Hollywood. It's a love letter to all the people involved in Hollywood.
It's a love letter to feet. This was probably the worst case of Tarantino's infatuation with feet. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. But no, seriously though, go see it. I I can't recommend it enough. I had such a fun time in this movie.
It's great.
It's great.
So. All right. Well, we'll catch you next time with Our Take.